Hello and welcome to 3 Minute Gaming. I'm Nathan. Today I'm going to tell you if this game is worth your time and bandwidth. Today's game is Last Call BBS. It's time for the last call of Zachtronics, creators of infamously difficult puzzle games on PC. Does this collection of 8 retro-themed puzzle games make for a strong swan song? Last Call BBS is currently a PC-only game on both Steam or the Xbox app. If you are a PC Game Pass subscriber, it comes with that service currently. And because of the variety of games, I can't really give a playtime, but you could spend dozens of hours in just single games on this collection. So what exactly is Last Call BBS? Well, it's a collection of puzzle games of varying difficulty and style. The framing for the puzzles is that you have an old Z5 Power Lance, a system with graphics similar to some late Windows 3.1 and early Windows 95 era, and it's hooked up with a dial-up modem to an old pirated server to get some cracked ancient games. Let's go over all 8 now. Saayama Solitaire is pre-installed on the computer and follows Zachtronics' reputation for making a lot of solitaire variants. This one's main feature is that you can move any stack to an empty space, not just a king, and you only get one deal through the deck and it stacks up on top. It's more difficult than a standard solitaire game, but fun once you get the hang of it. Kabufuda Solitaire is more like a free cell variant with less suits than free cell, but combining 4 cards locks either a cell or tableau spot permanently. On harder difficulties, you start with less free cell slots, which must be unlocked by banking a tableau slot. A challenging and really great free cell variant. Dungeons and Diagrams is my favorite of the bunch, a cross variant where instead of making a picture, you're making a dungeon following specific sets of rules, like how every dead end must have a monster in it and vice versa, and treasure rooms has specific requirements. It's challenging but highly accessible. Chip Wizard Professional is a game where you literally use silicon pathways to create microchips, designing things like if and or statements, using pathways combined with underarching pathways and switches to meet certain requirements. It's tough, but not the hardest on this list. Steed Force Hobby Studio is my second favorite, as it's literally just assembling Gundam models, complete with using tape and spray to detail them should you wish. As somebody who did a lot of Gunpla for many years, this one's weirdly accurate to the meditative experience that model building can be. 20th Century Food Court is by far the hardest and most complex game in the bunch, and the only one, aside from the next one, that I didn't manage to beat all the way through. You have to create an assembly line to fulfill specific food orders, which involves not only setting up belts, but also logic boards for the devices. This is what a solved puzzle looks like, for example. It starts simple and gets insane very quickly. Juicebox Arcade is a fake Japanese puzzle arcade game similar to Magical Drop, where you line up large groups of colors to attack your opponent. It only has 4 stages, and it's quite difficult. The Forbidden Path is gross and weird in a good way, where you're basically inputting instructions into cells to form flesh, hair, and bone across a 10-step process. It probably has the worst instructions out of all the bunch, but once you figure it out, it's a fun, gross body melding challenge. So all in all, this is a retro style collection of a bunch of Zachtronics' style of puzzle games, and is sadly going to be the last game they put out. So what do I like about Last Call BBS? Well, every puzzle game, from the basic Gunpla building to the absurdly complex food court game, feels masterfully crafted, and it's clear a lot of thought and effort went into them. Additionally, because there's a decent amount of variety, you'll probably find a game you love amongst the bunch, even if it's just their fantastic solitaire variants. And lastly, I really love the aesthetic and music, with the graphics being incredible throwbacks to old PC gaming, and the music also being great background noise as you blast through these puzzles. When it comes to the bad, having to fake download every game and then wait 15 minutes is a neat idea to get people to play what they have, but it's also kind of an annoying roadblock, especially if the game you downloaded is too hard or is a dud. Additionally, the game has a heavy reliance on puzzles that require a specific type of thinking, which is to say people who think like a programmer, which is on brand for Zachtronics, but isn't accessible to bozo brains like myself who have a psychology major instead of a real degree. And lastly, the games are hard, some extremely so, with some single puzzles taking literal hours to solve. If you're up to the challenge, you'll love it, but if you want a game that makes you feel clever more often than not, this one's not going to give you that dopamine hit. As you know, I rate games here on a 3-point scale: must play, maybe consider, don't bother. I think Last Call BBS is a maybe consider, but is absolutely a hidden gem. I personally enjoyed this collection quite a bit. I will say, if you enjoy puzzle games, it's worth it just for the Gunpla builder and the Dungeons and Diagrams game, as well as their excellent solitaire variants. And since it's in a collection, you can just pick up and play the games you want rather than bang your head against some of the tougher ones. If you're a puzzle game fiend, you should absolutely check out Last Call BBS. And that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching, and go out there and enjoy Last Call BBS.